Not long ago, the entire world was holding its breath as Iran and Israel, two adversaries locked in a decades-long shadow war, suddenly started trading direct military strikes for the first time ever. The US jumped in, and for a moment, the region felt like it was on the brink of something truly catastrophic. So today, we're going to unpack how we got here, how this simmering conflict finally boiled over, what it all means for the rest of the world, and what could possibly happen next.
So, how are we going to do this? Well, first, we've got to look at the deep-seated rivalry that set the stage for all of this. Then we'll pinpoint the exact events that lit the fuse for open conflict. After that, we'll dive into America's high-stakes intervention, explore the very real ripple effects across the global economy, and finally, we'll look at what the future might hold. All right, let's get right into it. The first thing you have to understand is that this fight is not new. Not at all. The direct attacks we've just seen are really the explosive result of a long, bitter history that has shaped the entire modern Middle East. So, to really get what's happening today, we have to go back and look at the core of the animosity.
And at the absolute heart of it all are two completely opposing visions for the region. On one side, you have Iran, whose goal is to become the dominant power. That means pushing US influence out and directly challenging Israel's very right to exist. Then, on the other side, you have Israel, and for them, it's all about national security, which means stopping Iran from getting a nuclear weapon and making sure they maintain military superiority. You can see right away, these goals are mutually exclusive. They're designed to cancel each other out.
So for years, this rivalry wasn't fought head-to-head. Instead, it played out as a proxy conflict. And this is a really crucial term to understand. Basically, it means both sides used other groups as substitutes to do the fighting for them. Think of groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon, or various militias in Syria and Yemen. It was this simmering, deniable kind of shadow war that has kept the whole region on a knife's edge for decades. So, what changed? How did this long, simmering proxy war suddenly explode into a direct, state-on-state confrontation? Let's walk through the timeline of escalations that completely shredded the old rulebook.
The flashpoint, the single event that kicked this all off, was a very precise airstrike. It hit a high-level Iranian military command post in Damascus, Syria. Now, Israel didn't officially take credit, but that didn't matter. Iran immediately and very publicly blamed them and vowed revenge.
And from there, things escalated with stunning speed. After that Damascus strike, Iran launched its first ever direct missile and drone attack on Israel. Then, Israel hit back with its own retaliatory strikes on Iranian military sites. Just like that, in a matter of days, the decades-old proxy war was over and a direct shooting war had begun, forcing the US to issue an immediate, quote, ironclad warning to stop things from spiraling even further. And you just have to listen to the language being used here. This quote from an Iranian official signals a massive shift. That phrase, the era of strategic patience is over, that's a public declaration. It's Iran saying, the old rules are gone. From now on, if you hit us directly, we will hit you back directly. No more proxies.
Okay, so with the situation threatening to blow up into a much wider war, the United States just couldn't stay on the sidelines. Its role had to shift very quickly from that of a diplomatic mediator to an active participant. Let's break down exactly how America got involved.
The American response wasn't just one single action. It was a really calculated three-pronged strategy. First came the urgent diplomacy, public warnings and private back-channel messages trying to pull everyone back from the edge. When that wasn't enough, they tightened the economic screws with a new wave of severe sanctions. And finally, as a clear show of force, major U.S. naval and air assets were moved into the region as a deterrent.
So, why take these big steps? Why get so involved? Well, from Washington's perspective, the official reasons were pretty clear. Number one, and this is the big one, prevent a catastrophic region-wide war. Number two, secure those vital global shipping lanes, like the Strait of Hormuz, because a disruption there would cripple the world economy. And number three, of course, was to defend key allies and deter any more aggression.
Now, a conflict like this never happens in a vacuum. Its consequences shot across the globe almost instantly, affecting everything from the price you pay for gas to global supply chains. This is the part that shows why it matters to absolutely everyone, no matter where on Earth you live.
And here's the impact that everyone felt first. Global markets hate uncertainty, and the mere fear of a disruption to oil supplies coming out of the Middle East was enough to cause crude oil prices to spike by 15% in a single week. That's a huge economic shockwave felt at gas pumps and in corporate boardrooms all around the world.
But that shockwave wasn't felt equally everywhere. You can see here, economies that are really dependent on energy imports, like the European Union and China, they got hit the hardest. The United States, on the other hand, was a bit more insulated from that initial price jump, mainly because it produces so much of its own oil and gas. Still, nobody was completely immune.
And that brings us to right now, to the present moment. The direct shooting has paused, but the tension is arguably higher than it's ever been. So the critical question becomes, where do we go from here? What happens next? The way our source material lays it out, the key players are now standing at a massive crossroads. Are they going to choose a path that leads towards de-escalation? Or will they fall back into a tense, grinding stalemate? Or, and this is the scary one, could they stumble into a much wider war? Each of those options carries profound risks. These are basically the three potential futures on the table. The best-case scenario is de-escalation, which would be driven by intense international diplomacy, hopefully leading back to some kind of fragile stability. A more likely outcome, though, might be a stalemate, a return to the old shadow war fought through proxies, which would cause huge, ongoing economic strain. But the most dangerous possibility, a full-scale regional conflict, remains terrifyingly close, and it could be triggered by just a single miscalculation from any side.
And this brings us to our final thought, a really crucial question for our times. This whole episode is a powerful reminder of just how quickly a regional rivalry can threaten global stability. It really forces us to ask, in our deeply interconnected world, is it even possible anymore for a fire in one region to not spread and become a global wildfire? It's a pretty sobering thought to end on.